if you ever created a database, or if you are working with databases, for sure you had the challenge of creating user interface from where the data could be edited by different users. And I say that this is a challenge because this task can go from a very simple one to a very complicated one, where you need to control user rights and you need to keep history of the data and so on. In the following tutorial, I will show you a very practical example where using Access 2013, part of the Office package, and using Office 365, the online Office package of Microsoft, you can create within minutes very powerful data management applications. We have two database tables created in the Microsoft SQL Server, and the two tables are linked together via foreign key constraint. So the ID column from the vehicle make is linked to the make ID foreign key in the vehicle model table. In order to connect to the tables, first you need to have a connection to your database. So go to your ODBC data source administrator and make sure that you have a connection to the database that is hosting the tables. So in my case, I have here a connection that is connected to the database. Open Microsoft Access 2013. Now in the upper right corner, make sure you are logged in with your Office 365 account, and your Office 365 account should support Access web apps. Now click on the Custom Web App button and give a title to your app. We will call ours Vehicle Management, and give a URL on Office 365 SharePoint where this app will be deployed, and push the Create button. Now this will create the basic structure of your app on Office 365. This takes a moment. But now it is done, and we have here this screen. We can start developing our application. So just to understand what we are doing here, we use Microsoft Access, and we connect to a local database, to the tables for which we would like to create a web application to manage the data. Microsoft Access will take these tables and will copy them and will deploy them on Microsoft Azure. Note that this Azure account where these tables are created is not one of your existing Azure accounts, or not the Azure account that might be associated with your Office 365 account. It is just a special Azure account where all the databases for all the Access web apps are hosted. We will talk about this later. And then Access deploys the web app to the Office 365. The web app will communicate with this database, with the copy of this database, and later the process that writes back the data to the original database, this is something that needs to be developed by you. Now we go here to ODBC data sources, we say OK, and we connect to our database that is already configured as an ODBC data source. Now we say OK, and we select the two tables for which we would like to create a management interface. The tables are imported now, and as you can see, the tables were imported, and already Access created a web layout for managing these tables. Now we're gonna edit the tables that we imported. First of all, we will rename them. This we will call make, and we go to the other one, and this we will call model. Now we go on this one, and we check the structure, and we will see that the Access imported the structure that we had in our database, but additionally added this ID field, which is an auto number. So what I will do, I don't actually, this ID was an ID in my table, so I will not need this ID anymore. Actually, I can keep this ID only if I'm importing also data from the source database as well. But in this case, my tables are empty, so I will not need it. I will delete this ID, and then I will rename this just to be simple ID. Okay, we go to the model. I do the same thing here. I say this one. Just a second. So I drop this field, and I rename this one simply ID. Okay, now I made these changes, and we can start editing the layout of the user interface. Access created by default two types of visualization for my tables. One is a form and one is a list visualization. We will get there in a minute, but first let's go here and close these changes, close these database structure views so that the changes are saved to the server. This one and this one as well. We close, and yes. Now our database changes are propagated to the server. Now we will adjust the user interface of the web application. So we take this generated screens, and we will adjust them by clicking on the edit button. And here we see first the make one. So this is a list of makes, and we go there, and instead of displaying the ID, we will display the name of the make. So this is the first thing. The ID field we don't really need here because that is an auto number, but we will need here a code. We want here the code to be the first. This is active. We will rename as just as active. This is date I will put here, and the active I bring it underneath. Okay, these labels I delete because I don't need. The ins date and the ins user will be two fields that will receive some automatic values, and this we achieve by going here and we say standard value, functions, built-in function, and basically date, time, and now. Okay, and in user we go here and we say built-in functions database. Let's put the email address of the user. Basically this will be the email address of the user who is logged into Office 365 because the application is deployed on Office 365. Now we don't want to see these fields, so this should be invisible. We should be hidden, and this one is as well. By the way, I have no idea why my accessing is in German, but we will see this later. So on the first form I have the code, the name and the active. Maybe I take this one and the labels I align to the right. So this would be the first, the form, the edit and add form for the vehicle make. Now we go back here, we go on the datasheet view, and we will adjust the datasheet view as well. So I have these columns here. I will do the same. I will set here as, since it's editable also from here, or I can block this, but I will set as default value. Okay, and I will set here as default value the current date. Okay, this actually these fields, I will say that they are inactive, so that cannot be changed here, because they will receive automated values. The same for this one is inactive, code name, the rest is the same. Okay, and in this moment my first two forms are ready. Now I will save my changes from here. So I put the save button here, close it. Here I push save and close it. And now I can check and launch my application to see how it's looking in the browser. Okay, so this is my add form. So we will see, say 01, and this, let's say, is Mazda, and is active, and we save it, and we add another one. 02 would be, let's say, BMW, and is active, and we save it. So now if you click here on the list, you select, you have an edit functionality here, and if you go on the datasheet view, you see the inserted data, and you can use this input method as well to add, let's say, Toyota, and make it active. Okay, so switching between the list and the datasheet view is a full-featured data editing application. Before I go and edit the Moodle screen, I will go here and I will do a change. And here I would say that I set to yes the default value, and I save it, close it, and here I will do the same. For the is active, actually I would change just to say here active, and I will set the default value to yes. So just to ease the development, I make these two columns a bit wider and this column a bit narrower, and I save it and close it. Now let's go to the Moodle screen. We have again the same layout. Now we go and we change it. So what we have the ID field, which we don't need on the screen, but what we would like to have, we would like to have here a make, a code, a description, and let's make a bit of space here. Name will come after the code. Is active comes the last. These two labels we don't need. We set default value. And we make it hidden and inactive. Default value. And hidden. Default value. Yes. And in the list we will say to display the make name. So that's the ID. Okay, make this we will call just make, and this we will call just active. Now what we want to do, instead of this make ID field, we would like here to have a drop down list with all the possible values added as makes. So we will drag in a list item. So we go on this one. We say that the data should come from the vehicle make table, and it should go to make ID, and the field should be name. So in this way we delete this field and we bring in this one. I think this looks pretty good. Now we save it and we close it. Now let's see the datasheet view for the Moodle. What we have here, we need to do the same things. So standard value for the date would be date time now. Standard value for the user who added should be database and email address. We make this a bit wider, we make this wider, we call this active. Standard value should be yes. This field we make inactive, inactive. Here the make ID, I leave it as ID, and I save it, close it, and let's launch our application and see how is looking. So we checked before this make part. Now let's go to the models. So we don't have any model here, but we can select, let's say, Mazda 3. Let's say the code would be 03 and the name is 3 and is active. We save it. Then we add here another one, and this is a Toyota, and the code will be 065, and the name should be Avensis, and the description Avensis, and it should be active, and we save it. And now if we go to the datasheet view, we have our data field here, and we have here a nice functionality to to download this data and display it in Excel. So we already have access to the data that was collected via the application. So in a couple of minutes we created here a full-featured web application, editing these two tables that are linked together. We deployed it on Office 365. We have for all the data addition, edit, deletion functionality. We can export the data. We can search for it. We can search for the data. These lists are really configurable. We can display here the make together with the Moodle name. We can put their pictures. We can create upload functionality. We can customize the list view. We can download the data, export it to Excel, and so on. So really a powerful application. The user right can be controlled from the SharePoint that is deployed on Office 365. So here the capabilities are endless as well. Now let's come back to our access a little bit. Let's see how can we have access to the data that is collected there in a different way, so that maybe we can develop an ETL package to download the data and push it back to our original database. For this we go to access in the file tab, and we go here to manage. And basically from this manage we can set who will have access to the database where the data is stored. I mentioned at the beginning that the database is stored in the Azure database. So I would say here that from my location, and my location means my IP address, or from any location, let's say in this case from any location, I will enable the access to the data. And now I would say that I will enable just a read-only connection, so the data can be read from there. And if I click on this one, it will display the connection information to the Azure database, to the Azure server where my data is located. And for this I will use now Management Studio to access this database. Let's take the server name, and then we will go here for SQL Server Authentication. We say username, and we say here password, and we can remember the password. And note there is a trick now. You need to go here to options, and here where you take the name of the database and you paste here the name of the database. If you don't do this, you will not be able to connect to the Azure database, and you say connect. Now basically from my local machine, from SQL Server Management Studio, I'm connecting to the Azure database. It takes a minute. Databases, and this is my database, and let's have a look here in the tables. I need to have two tables where I store the data. Access DBO vehicle make, access DBO vehicle model. Let's see what we have here. Script table, I select new query editor. Okay, let's run the query. So we have the three makes we added, and let's see what we have in the model table. We run the query, and we have the Mazda 3 and the Toyota Avensis. So from here I can develop an ETL package that downloads the data and push it back to my database. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it helps you in your business or whatever you are doing with it. If you have any questions, just post below this video, or reach my website and contact me. So if I can help you, I would be very happy. I wish you a nice day.